And here's the scoreboard for the first 3 matches, and we're getting ready for that championship match between a man who has never, ever lost to Earl Anthony, Frank Ellenberg, Chris.
All right, and Ellenberg, big frame, 6'5", going against Anthony here. They are bowling for $35,000 in this single final match. 23 to the winner, the runner-up 12. Anthony will shoot first. He's just off a big 269 game with 9 strikes, opening on the left lane. Tournament leader, 4 out of the 6 rounds. And what a powerful ball from the right side. Ever so close.
Frank, one of the players that opts for a harder, slicker ball to shoot spares going across lane. Just nice firm speed, straight shot at the 10 pin.
Anthony carefully placing himself on the approach of the right lane. Second frame. Strike up. Coming up a little high. 38 titles. You know, Earl and Betty Morris combined to set a pace for bowlers all over the country. Nelson to raise over $500,000 for the National Bowling Hall of Fame in your hometown, which has groundbreaking April 20th.
That's super. I know it's important to all the players. And talking about raising money, Miller High Life has pledged a minimum of $3 to the United States Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs for America's athletes in both the 1984 Summer and Winter Games. Part of the proceeds from this tournament is going for that Olympic fund, Chris.
How much total?
$3 million. Not a bad start for our athletes.
And Earl Anthony, strike, spare, strike. Replay of that steady, steady head.
Watch those eyes. I mean, they are amazing. And how steady that head is, I think it's one of the most critical things in the game of bowling that we don't look at very often. Not even a hair is ruffled as he goes through the shot, and never a blink on the way to the foul line.
Third frame. 7 pin. 6'5", 215 pounds.
Really powerful arms, Chris. He works with his hands a lot. He's really proud of his ability to squeeze when he shakes hands. And if you want to feel a meat cleaver squeeze down, and you try to squeeze Frank Ellenberg. On that particular shot, he just squeezed out the 5-7 for an easy spare.
Spent 3 years in the armed forces, serving as a sergeant. Runs 2 or 3 miles every day when he's not bowling. Well-conditioned athlete.
And I might add, one of the most eligible bachelors on the Pro Bowlers Tour. Very easygoing, nice, likable guy.
Started bowling at 13. Said his first game, he shot a 63.
He'll have a little more than that today.
There he gets his second strike in 4 frames. Very convincing on that left lane. And we're in our final match where the winner will receive $23,000, the loser 12. Going to take a break in the action here at the Celebrity Lanes, but we'll be back for more. What a program schedule tomorrow on ABC, and in the next few weeks we'll be in Overland Park. A week from today, King Louis Open Finals, Cleveland Open from North Olmsted. 2 weeks from today, the Greater Hartford Open, Windsor Locks, and then the Firestone Tournament of Champions, the 24th of April. Earl Anthony has a strike up shooting in the 4th frame, our final game. Such control, speed, placement of the ball.
Just perfect, Chris. It just ball enters the 1-2 pocket. Every pin takes out each pin just like it's supposed to. Not much you can say about it. One thing we always said is when you see the 7 pin for a left-hander or the 10 pin for a right-hander fall in towards the center, that means you're entering the pocket at absolutely the perfect angle when you can make the pin fall in like Earl did the 7 pin that time.
The 10-pin goes.
Chris almost left a solid 10 with a 3-6 being driven straight up in the air, and he got it a backdoor shot out of the pit. Tremendous, powerful shot. Extended his lead to 21 pins, but don't count this young man out. He is tough.
5th in the United States Open in Houston, losing the opening match to Dave Husted, who is the alternate today. Okay, a big, powerful Ellenberg strike. We talked to Frank earlier about his technique.
I like to play inside because I like to throw the ball a little bit harder, and I like to hook the ball a little bit. It seemed to be very conducive on this week's lane condition to throw a little bit harder to get it through the heads, and I have enough on the ball to where I can get it back in the back end to get a lot of strikes.
All the powerful players usually like to play down the center of the lane, Chris, as you've said before, and hold that hook down at the back end. He could cut the lead to 1 pin with a strike.
Okay, 1 pin now separating. Earl Anthony, who's up, and Frank Ellenberg in the final match, Miller High Life Open. Anthony will be shooting on the right lane. Yeah, it's a 3-bagger working. We have reached the 6th frame. There you see, 1 pin. Trying to win his 3rd of the year.
This could be the match of the year, Chris. Earl Anthony is determined as we've seen him all year, and Frank Ellenberg just does not lose. He may get beat, but he doesn't lose. Anybody's match, 4 frames to go for $23,000.
As we get another look from our extra camera angle, the left side.
Watch Earl Anthony, how he moves the ball slightly behind his back and then realigns it with his left shoulder as he comes through and lifts straight through. Look at the very little turn. They talk about the basics. Earl Anthony has the basic release, control of the ball. And right now, Frank Ellenberg needs a strike to stay right in the match.
3 in a row. Isn't he tough? 1 victory plus a Masters title where he defeated Anthony. And it's back to 11 pins, Bo.
Once again, Frank can reduce that pin, reduce that lead of Earl Anthony's down to just 1 pin.
Well, there's a 2-4-5 for Ellenberg. Very disappointed with that shot.
Just slid by, but with a conversion, he's still in the match. Changing to that harder ball, he'll try to get right between the 2 and 5, knock the 4 pin straight back.
Talk about speed. 14 pins now separating Anthony and Ellenberg. Final match.
The advantage of the straight hard shot at spares was shown by Ellenberg on that time as he kind of pulled the ball to the left side of the spare but still carried it. Anthony, 5-bagger working, 8th frame, going to take a 24-pin lead with another strike.
Home run hitter, knockout puncher, long-distance driver, whatever. That's what Anthony is.
See you later, 10 in a pit on a just amazing shot.
more than usual reaction.
He really wants this title. It's never come into the Anthony home. The Miller High Life, with all the titles he's won, this one has eluded him. Second place in '81 and back in 1975. He can put a step inside the door with another strike and a 34-pin lead, 9th frame.
Now the fans here are really getting with Earl Anthony because of his performance. It's just tremendous.
Little revenge in this shot, Chris. Remember how unlucky maybe we say he was last week against Steve Cook, as Cook crossed over 4 times. Now he's taking it out on Ellenberg. Frank still a possible 246, needs a strike.
And a twisting, turning 7-pin. Earl Anthony going against Frank Ellenberg. Anthony defeating Jeff Mattingly in the previous game, 268 to 232, 9 strikes for Anthony in that match. Close. Watch.
Almost a dejected shot. He knows Anthony has a possible 280 game. Frank, a little lackadaisical on the shot, nicks the 7, but that's what they make the ball 7.5 inches wide for, so I can touch the pin at any point. Ellenberg, a possible 235 game.
But hanging in there with a 10th frame strike, the tournament leader, Frank Ellenberg, going against Earl Anthony. Earl has 8 strikes in this final game, had 9 in the previous.
Frank just checking the scoreboard, hoping it was a 15-frame game instead of a 10-frame game, Chris. 235, regardless of what you say, he didn't lose this match. He was beaten. I'll take a game like that at any time. It just, unfortunately, the same thing happened to Frank Ellenberg as happened to Earl Anthony last year. Mike Durbin brought the hammer down on Anthony with a 277. Frank Ellenberg is going to be a victim of Anthony turning the tables.
Down the left lane. Stringing 3 at the end for a big 235. However, he is going against Earl Anthony. 17 of 20 frames strikes this afternoon live.
The 3 missed, 2 7-pins and a 6-pin.
18 of 21. And a big handshake from 28-year-old Frank Ellenberg. And it's going to be $23,000 added to the $74,000 that Earl has already won this year. He's approaching the $100,000 mark, setting a record last year with 164, and we're only in March. Bowling fans acknowledging the performance of the best, a great champion. 268, 269. How's this for 2 games when the pressure's on? 268 and now a 269. And a hug from Susie. First a 268, then a 269, and here he is. 39 titles, Earl Anthony.
Thank you, Chris. Pleasure to be here.
How do you account for a 104-pin difference between 1 year ago and today?
I learned a lot watching Mike Durbin last year.
Bill CATLIN is Vice President, Brand Management for the Miller Brewing Company. Bill?
Thank you, Chris. Earl, I'm delighted on behalf of the Miller Brewing Company and the Miller High Life brand to present you with this winner's check for $23,000 and this trophy emblematic of your win. It's great to have you win your 39th Tour victory in Milwaukee. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's Miller time, right?
Yeah. Okay, Earl Anthony, Susie, and Bill CATLIN. That final score once again, Earl Anthony, 9 strikes once more, 269 to a 235 for Frank Ellenberg.